Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kelvin Johnson. This is Windows 11 tutorial Inside Out part 16. In this tutorial, I'm going to be discussing about PowerShell and other advanced management tools in your Windows 11. So I'm going to go deep into the command prompt or PowerShell. So I'm going to show you how to actually work with the command prompt and also how to edit the command prompt. So I'll be showing you some basic scripting with PowerShell. I'm not going to program in this tutorial. I'm just going to show you how to use the different PowerShell we have in Windows 11, and also I'll be showing you how to actually modify the Windows registry, how to back up your registry before you do some modification. And then lastly, we'll be discussing about task scheduler in Windows 11. You know, sometimes the simplest way to accomplish most tasks in your Windows 11 is with the help of the graphical user's interface, of course, which is the command prompt or your Windows PowerShell. So most of the features we discussed in this chapter have been around for many years, and a few, if any, substance changes in their behavior in Windows 11. So if I go to my start menu, and let me just go to search my Windows start menu, and here you can see I have the command prompt here. So but I can actually just go and type command. You can see I have the command prompt, or you can type CMD. It gives me the command prompt. Or what I can actually do is I can actually open the wrong command and type CMD. I click OK. You can see I'm able to open the command prompt. But I can as well open the command prompt as an administrator. I can just search for the command prompt and then right click the command prompt, and here you can see we have different options. I can actually open the file location. I can unpin from the start menu. I can pin to the taskbar. I click pin to the taskbar. You can see my command prompt is there. So I can right click my command prompt, but if I press the shift key, you can see by pressing the shift key, and I have more options to actually do some things with this command prompt. So there are two differences here. So if I right click my command prompt, you can see I only have to open the command prompt or to unpin from the command prompt. But if I press the shift key on my keyboard, so the shift key is close to the control key on your keyboard, and then press right click on the command prompt, so you can see I have different options. I can actually open the file location. I can run as an administrator. I can run as a different user. I can move to OneDrive. I can unprint from the start menu. I can actually scan the selected items for viruses. So what I want to do is I want to run this command prompt as an administrator. Definitely I'm going to be asked for the users to confirm my user's account control. I'm going to say yes, and you can see we have our command prompt. So at this moment, when you open the command prompt for the first time, you can see it takes me directly to the C, Windows and System 32. So let me open File Explorer, go to my C drive. So it takes me to this location, Windows, and here you can see if I just search for the System 32, we have the System 32. So it takes me to that location. You can see we have a lot of files here. So we have about 4,593 items. So let me show you what happens this. So I'm now in the location of the C, this command prompt or the System 32. If I enter directory, you can see it's going to give me the list of all the directories in that folder. Here we have, you can see it takes me down here. You can see we have about 4,450 files and 135 files. So if I join it together, definitely going to have 5. And here we have the 5 plus 3 is about 8. So you have about 548 files, 4,585 files into items in total. So here you can see all the files. So what I want to do is I can actually clear the screen by two options. I can do clear, CLS. You can see by I think the PowerShell you can use the clear. So here I can actually change to, for example, I just want to change to the C drive. Change to the C drive. Let me just change to the C drive, and you can see I just changed to the C drive. And if I enter the directory here, you can see it's going to give me all the single directory we have here. So let me just try to take this and move it this way. side by side so that I can see them very well. So let me go back again to my C drive. You can see all the options we have, the folders we have are being displayed here. So my C drive, actually I can actually move. Let me just change it to the temp folder, and now I'm at the temp folder. At this moment I only have one particular file here. You see, I can as well create a folder in this temp folder by just doing the following: make directory. Let me just call this Kelvin, and you can see the folder has just been created called Kelvin. So that's how you actually manipulate yourself to the command prompts. From here I can actually start different things for the command. From here I can even go to the PowerShell and begin to use PowerShell. I can as well do the following: do ms info 32, and you can see it's going to actually open the ms info 32. So but from here also, if for example I want to actually modify the way the command prompt looks, so let me just make this bigger, and I can as well just right click on my you can see at the top of my command prompt, right click, and you can see we have the option what we call edit. We have the default, we have the properties. So let me go to the properties, and here we have the different properties of the command prompt. So by default, you can see our command, the cursor is small, and so the buffer size is about 50. The normal of the buffer is about 4. We have the font. Let me go to the font. You can see the font is actually black, and you see the size is about 16. So I can actually modify this to 24. You can see how bigger it becomes. You can see the font. I can actually change the font, the way the font looks, to a different font. I can go to the layout. You can see the height and the weight automatically. By modifying the height, the weight is going to modify it, or we can actually check that to change it ourselves. Let me just check that. And also, if I go to the color, here you can see it says screen background. You can see the different. We say we have the red color, so I can as well change this, for example, to green, or change this to maybe light blue, or change this to yellow. I think I don't like that. You can actually change this to blue if we wish. And also we can actually say screen test. We can change that, or I can just leave it the way it is. The terminal, you can see at this moment it says red. Here we can use separate background, or I can actually just uncheck that and leave it. So the cursor shape, it says use large scale. So from here you can actually modify the way your command prompt looks. So let me just click OK and see what happens. Just imagine now I have a blue background with my command prompt. So definitely you want to actually check if you like the color you are seeing, because I think it was black, but right now I have blue. So we can actually change it to a different color if we wish. So let me just go to take some time, go to the color, and here you can see my color. I can actually change it to green, and here we go, we have some green color. So but let me just change it back to black. I say I prefer the black color. It gives me the opportunity to see everything clearly on my screen. And we have the opacity, it says about 100%. We can change that as well. So let me change it back again, and here we go. I have the black screen. And also let me close the command prompt. So if you want to actually start, before I forget, if you want to start the command prompt, for example, I search for the command prompt, and I can actually just on my keyboard I can go for control the shift and hit enter. So it's actually going to start the command prompt as an administrator as well, instead of right clicking and then selecting start as administrator. So I'm just going to say yes, and then the command prompt will start as a. But mind you, from the command prompt we can also start PowerShell. So if I type PowerShell.exe, and you can see what's going to happen. You can see at the moment, you can see the difference is this. It takes me from the command prompt, and you can see I was actually at C, and I type PowerShell.exe, so it takes me to the PS. Right now I have the PS, and you can see, which means that I'm actually working on a PowerShell command. So Microsoft described Windows PowerShell as a task-based command line shell and scripting language designed especially for system administrators. So if you're not an IT system administrator and you're trying to work with PowerShell, so definitely you may know what you are doing. But if you don't actually know much about scripting and you don't really know what you are doing, please do not modify or do not use PowerShell to just copy and paste anything you see on the internet on the PowerShell. You may cause some very serious damage to your device. So I would advise you to always use the command prompt, but if you know what you are doing, you can always modify the PowerShell to your taste and start actually scripting or doing some basic scripting in PowerShell. So let me just close this and close this as well. So if I go to the start menu here and I type PowerShell, and you can see we have different PowerShell that's about to start. You can see we have the PowerShell, it's actually 32 bits, and we have 64 bits, and we have the 32 bits. You can see we have two options of PowerShell. We have the PowerShell and we have the PowerShell EC. So if let me just open both of them. If I open the Windows PowerShell, so this is trying to open, you can see we have just a blank, normal screen of PowerShell, which of course we can actually type. And if you know what you're doing, I can actually still do the same for here and just type directory, which is going to give me directory. But if I go to my start menu again, for example, and type PowerShell, and here you can see I have the option to actually click the Windows PowerShell EC. So let me click that, and here you can see we can actually run this as administrator. Can run the EC as an administrator. So let me run that as an administrator. I'm going to say yes. So you can see it opens PowerShell. What in the different way? Here we have different options. I can actually say we have the file. I can actually open a PowerShell script, create a new PowerShell script. We can actually edit, view tools. We can debug. We can do some add-ons, and actually we have the help. So, but if I want to actually, I can actually split the screen of the PowerShell, or I can actually go back again to show the screen up and down. So here you can see we have some basic, we have the screen up and we have the screen down. So here we can actually type everything. If I type, for example, I type directory, so here you can see we have the option to actually run this. So by running this, it's going to actually take me down. Just now it's actually trying to, I think I'm on the C Windows System 32. So it's going to actually display all the different files in that location, or all the, let me stop this. You can have the option to actually stop the operation, and if you stop, you can see on the C Windows System 32. But you can see the difference between the both of them is that here I don't have the option to actually perform the same action I'm doing here. For example, if I go here, you can see we have some option called the modus. I have a different modus. Mind you, with a PowerShell script, you can do almost everything you want to. For example, installing a software device, install a software application, installing your device, doing everything, you can do it with PowerShell. Configuring BitLocker, everything you can see. And we have different options here, what we can actually do with the PowerShell. Here you can see all the different models, and here we have the names. For example, if I decided to say, let me just search for like start, you can see we have the start different process. For example, we have the start service. We have, for example, we have the start process. If I click the start process and I click insert, you can see that it's actually insert that start process into my command shell. So for example, if I look at, let me just close, let me just cancel this. And for example, if I type the let me just type get help, and let me clear the screen here. You can see clear the console pane. You just press that, you can see the screen has just been cleared. And also when I do that and then I just run the script, it says, do you want to run the get help? I will say yes. So it will try to run the get help. So the get help is actually trying to download all the help modules from the internet and some other content which will display all the help in PowerShell for this device for Windows 11. So it's trying to actually get all this help. It's trying to update the help also from the internet, as you can see. So let's just wait for this to complete. Let me just pause this video and come back again when it's complete. So now you can see that I received, let me just scroll a little bit up back again. So here you can see all the different, it says get help. You can see the topic, Windows PowerShell help system. Here you can see all the different get help. Let me just scroll down back again. You can see get help, save help, update help. So if I say, for example, I type get service, and so right now if I try to run the script, what is going to happen is it's going to run both scripts at the same time. So but I just only want to run this very script. So what you need to do is, if I go to the script here, and you can see run selection. So if I click the run selection, so it's just going to run this script only. And you can see at this moment, let me try to enlarge this. So it's going to actually give me all the different services which are actually running or which have been stopped on this device. So just as I said before, I don't want to go details into PowerShell, because if not, this video is going to take a very long time. So well, if you want to learn about basic PowerShell, you can just go to the internet and you get a lot of information about basic PowerShell. Also for the command prompt, all the different commands you can use in the command prompt. You can go to the internet and definitely you will find a lot of information about the command prompt on the internet. And now I want to actually discuss about the registry. So let me close the PowerShell. I don't want to save this. So let me just click no, and also close the PowerShell as well. And here, if I go to my start menu and you type registry, you can see we have, oh, I think I made a mistake there. You can see we have the registry editor. So I have the option to actually start this as an administrator, or I just click, because I'm logged into the device as an administrator, I can just click the registry, and definitely it's going to ask me for my user's account control. I'm going to say yes. And you can see here we have the registry. So I want to advise you actually, and this is very important, before you make any modification to your registry, first of all, you want to actually always try to back up your registry. So here, for example, we have the key local machine. If I right click, I can actually export this registry key to my device. You can see I can actually export this to the reg file, but this is going to take some very long time because there's a lot of information here. But I can actually go, for example, I can decide to export just this information only, and let me just call this description reg. Click save, and now you can see if I go back again to my file explorer, I think I save it on that document, and here you can see we have the description reg for this. So if I modify anything here, for example, let me just try to create a keyword here. No, I don't want to do that. Let me just delete this. Let me just create a new keyword 32 and call this test 1. And here we go. So what I can actually do right now is I can actually decide to import my registry key. Actually, let me just know, I will need to go to my file, and here we need to go to file and import. I'm going to import the description, click open. It says the key and values contained have been successfully imported. Click OK, and right now the key will be imported. So before you actually modify any of your registry key, definitely you want to actually make a backup of it. So we have the option to actually create a backup of our registry key. So if I click, for example, we have under the key local machine, because if I try to actually export this key, it's going to take a long time because we have a lot of information on this key, the local machine. But if I go to, for example, I want to actually back up this description, I can actually export it, and then I'm going to save it here. Just call it description reg, and click save. So if I open File Explorer, I go to document, you can see we have the description there. So if you modify, now if I modify, like for example I modify the key name and I change this keyword, let me just remove the D and I click OK, and you can see I just changed something here. So this may have actually affect my device. So to actually rectify this problem, in case you modify your registry and something goes wrong, what you can actually do is go to File, and on that file we can just go to Import, and you can see I have it goes directly to my document, and I can just click on the description I saved and then open it and okay. You can see automatically it actually come back again because I actually deleted the day value from this value data, but now everything has been restored. So you can actually do the same for every other H key, the keyword. If any key you change, actually you can actually import it back, but always make sure you export your key and create a backup should in case something goes wrong. So, and also if I go to file, and you can see I can have the option to connect to a network registry. So here, if you are working, I do this a lot at my company. So if you are working for a company, or you are actually working at home and you want to actually connect to a different device, maybe the device in your basement, or the device is not in the same room as you want to just do it from your living room, you can actually connect to a remote device. So what you just need to do is you need to enter the device hostname. You can see you can only connect to a computer. The object type is only a device computer, so you can always enter the host name of that device and then check and then connect to that device to be able to modify the registry of that device. So when you connect to a device, actually you're not going to get the current user. The only thing you get is actually the H key local machine, and then you get the H key, I think the H key users, but you don't get, for example, you don't get the current user, and also I think you get the class root. Let me just verify. Okay, you get actually the H key. Let me see the H key users. Okay, you get the H key users and the H key local machine. So you don't get the H key current users or the H key class root, but the current user is actually the same as the H key users. So the current user is actually, I think, one of this registry key here, which of course is going to be the class. Let me see if it's going to be. Let me just go to the current user. Okay, the current. Let me try to see. Okay, that is it. There we go. So here we have, you can see we have two registry key here. So I'm just trying to verify. So this one is actually the current user of this device. You can see the same actually applies. You can, if I go from app event to uninstall, you can see it's actually app event to uninstall. If I click on the app event and I click here, you can see we have just the same. So it's actually the same thing as the current user of that device. So if you connect to a remote device, definitely you're only going to see the H key users, which of course this is actually the profile of the current user, should in case you want to modify the current user's profile. So let me just close that again. And also you can actually modify, for example, when I delete a user's profile from his device, I also want to delete that profile from the registry settings. So from the registry settings, you can actually modify a lot of things here, but be careful with the things you modify, and always try to remember what you modify from the registry, should in case something goes wrong. But the best option you have is to create a backup of your registry key. Then you always have a backup, and when something goes wrong with your device, you can actually restore it by importing that registry key back to your device, and everything will work just as it was working before without any problem. So what I want to discuss next is about our task scheduler. So let me just close our Registry Editor. And if you have any question about Registry Editor, you can always send me a personal message and I will reply to you as quick as possible. And also please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more IT videos. So while this is actually the way a Windows 11 tutorial inside out, which is actually from part 1 to part 17. So this is actually the part 16, and the part 17 I'll be discussing about the Windows Insider preview. So if I go to my start menu and I just type task, and here you can see we have the option what we call the task scheduler, also have the task manager. So I've already discussed about task manager in one of my previous video. So let me just click on task scheduler. So when you open task scheduler, you can see we have here, you can see say take note, active tasks are tasks that are currently enabled and have not expired. You can see some of the tasks that actually run on this device. I'm not the one actually trigger this task, even if they run automatically. Yeah, you can see we have task scheduler, we have some actions. You say connect to another computer, so we can actually click to connect to another device. If for example you are working for a company, you can actually from your own device connect to a Windows server and from there you can actually perform some basic task, or try to check or reconfigure the tasks that have already been scheduled on that server. So let me just click cancel here. And also we also have the option to actually create a basic task. So if I click create a basic task, so it's going to take some time to start. And here you can see we have the created task, basic task. For example, I can create a basic task and says shut down PC. So when do you actually create a task? You create a task if you want it. You don't create a task if you want to actually perform a one-time activity. A task is actually created when you want to perform consequence activities. For example, you want to actually restart a Windows server at a particular time, for example, like say 12 p.m. in the night in the evening, or you want to actually restart a device at a particular time when no one is using that device. So you create a specific task to restart that device, or to actually send an email to specific users. So I can remember, for example, when I was working for a company, I actually created a task to run at some specific time to send an email to every user about when their password is about to expire. And also I also created a task to actually restart some servers, which of course the server starts and being restarted, I think for every Wednesday evening. So then we actually schedule the task to run every Wednesday evening. Should the case something should go wrong during the evening, then definitely on Thursday we should be able to resolve the problem. Because you know, when you try to actually restart it on Saturday, or so when something goes wrong and Sunday no one is available, and sometimes, for example, the company I was working for, people do works on Sunday. So if you restart the device on Saturday, and on Sunday there's no one at the office, there's no IT worker at the office, something goes wrong, definitely the people will definitely have a problem. And on Monday morning, you don't want to come to the office on Monday morning when people just have their weekend, and then they start calling the IT help desk that they can't log onto their device anymore, or they have some issues. I think so that we prefer to actually do it on Wednesday. Then we have Thursday and Friday to actually troubleshoot if there are any issues which need to be solved. So here we can actually just click give the task a name, we enter a description and click next. And here it says, okay, when do you want to actually run this task? You do want to run it daily, weekly, monthly. You have the option to actually do it at one time when the computer starts, when I log on, when a specific event is logged. So we can say daily. We can just accept the default. And here it says, okay, what do you want to actually do? You want to start a program? You want to send an email? You can see it says depreciated. Display message has also been depreciated. So we can only start a program. And here we have the option to actually, you can say, okay, I want to start a notepad, I want to start a command prompt or a PowerShell script. I want to actually, you have different options to actually start different program. Here you're going to actually give the argument and the starting optional. So let me go to my create task. That is actually the basic task you can create. You can see we can also import task, or we can enable all task history. So let me just go again to create task. Let's see what we have there. Here you can see we have a more robust options which we can actually use than creating a basic task. So here it says we can actually give the name. I can say it's okay. Let me just call this restart per se. And here you say the author, and that's me, and that's my device host name. And here you can see it's run only when users is logged on, run whether users is logged on or not. So you can see the different options we have. It says do not store password, or run with high privilege. You understand? So we can actually go to trigger. And also in general, you can see we can change users control or group. So we can actually select a different user which should be actually used to access this task. If for example you don't have the right admin credentials, and definitely you will need to provide a password. And here you can see we have it says when you create a task, you can specify the condition that will trigger the task. So we can actually create new, click new, and here it says on the schedule task we can actually go for daily or weekly. It says once a week, every Monday. And here we are going to actually repeat this task if we wish. We can actually delay the task, and we say okay, the task expired. You can actually select the date when the task is going to expire. Synchronized across time zone. Stop task if it runs longer than. So if there's a problem with the task and it runs longer than, you can actually stop it. Let me just click OK. And here we have the action we need to carries out. It says when you create a task, you must specify the action that will occur when your task starts. So we can go to new, and here we can say we want to actually start a program. We can send an email. We can actually browse to that program we want to start. Let me just select something and this open file, and you can see I can click OK. And the condition is, it says start the task only if the computer is on AC power, stop if the computer switch to battery power. We can actually unselect that, and we can say start the task only if the computer is idle for. So you have some different options compared to the basic task we selected the first time. We can actually also say, okay, let me just unselect that and then go to settings, allow tasks to be run on demand, stop the task if it runs longer than 3 days or 1 hour. Can as well check that. Let me see. Okay, check that. Always tasks to be run on demand, and here we say do not start a new. So now we can click OK to schedule our task. So that will actually schedule that task. So that is how you actually schedule a task in Windows 11, and so this can also be done in Windows 10 and Windows 7. But mind you, don't schedule a task if you just need to run a one-time task. You can actually just restart your device immediately, or you can actually run a task even if it's just one time. But for example, you want to actually run a task like during 11 p.m. when no one is available at the office anymore, and definitely you can say, okay, let me just run a task just once. So you run a task, the data is carried out, and after that task is carried out, the task will be deleted and it will not be scheduled to run the next time. So let me just close that. That again. And also what I want to discuss lastly is what we call the Microsoft Management Console. So if I go to my search menu, I type AMC, and you can see we have the option called AMC, which is actually a run command. So let me just open that. I'm going to say yes. You can see we have an empty console. So at this moment we cannot do anything with this console we just have here. So let me enlarge this a little bit. So if I go to file, you can see we have the option to actually add or remove snapping. So let me add or remove snapping. So you can see we have the different options of snapping we can actually add to this console. We have the ActiveX control certificate, we have the computer management, event viewer, group policy. So I actually work with certificate a lot. If I'm adding a certificate, if for example I want to validate a certificate, I will definitely choose a certificate, or I can actually go for computer management, click add. You want to say, okay, is this for this local device or is this for another computer? So if you are working for a company, or maybe you're working at home, you can actually choose another computer and then browse to that device. But I'm going to choose the local computer because I don't have a different computer. This computer does not belong to a network environment, to a domain environment. So I'm going to say okay, and here you can see we have computer management, local, system tools, storage, and we have our service and application. There you can see the task schedule I just discussed last, and also we have our services. So you can see from here, if you are connected to a different device, you can actually start and stop services of that device without the user actually knowing what is going on. So let me just click standard, and here we have, for example, I can go to, let me just go to Windows Update. You can see that Windows Update is actually not running. You can start the Windows Update, and if you are doing this on a remote device, the user will not even know you're actually performing this action. Sometimes we do this actually to assist user when they're having issue with their device. Connect to that device using, for example, remote desktop connection or the computer management, and connect locally to the computer management of that device without the user knowing about that, and perform some other activities and ask the user to confirm if the problem has been solved or not. And here we have the option to actually go to file, and we can save as. You can see it's going to be saved as a management console. So let me just go to my library here and go to my document and click, let me just save this. If I go back again to my document, you can see we have the console. So if I close this, so do you want to save the console? I'm going to say yes. So it has been saved. It's trying to be saved. Let me just try to open this. And then click select yes. And you can see at this moment I still have my computer management console here. So if I didn't save it, definitely it's going to disappear. I will need to create it again. So that is how you actually connect to a Microsoft management console of a specific tool. Or for example, if I go to file, I can actually add more snapping. I can say, okay, I want to add a certificate. Add. Now says, okay, a computer account. I can just click next. Say local computer. Just click finish, and then okay. You can see now we have the certificate. Personal. Here we don't have any personal certificates. Here you can see all these different certificates we have on this device. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this video. My name is Kelvin Johnson. This is actually Windows 11 tutorial inside out part 16, where I was discussing about command prompt, PowerShell, and other advanced management tools which are being used in Windows 11. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more IT videos, and if you think this video has been of any help to you, you can always leave a comment below and give me a thumb up for taking my time to create this video. You can also send me a personal email and I'll reply to you as quick as possible. So if you have any question concerning Windows 11, Microsoft Intune, SCCM, Windows Server, just send me a personal email or Office 365 and I will reply to your mail as quick as possible. So I have some other videos, of course, if you're having issues with Windows 11. For example, you are trying to upgrade your Windows from Windows 8.1 to Windows 11, or you are trying to actually bypass the TPM, which I created a video on how to bypass the TPM 2.0. You can watch one of my videos, and this video would be of great help to you. So thank you very much, and hope to see you next time. So I'll be creating the last video, which is actually Windows. I'll be discussing about the Windows Insider program. So I think you don't want to miss that, because it's very, very important if you want to be the first to get Windows operating system, if you want to be the first among the general public to get a review of Windows 11 or any new operating system. So you can actually register for the Windows Insider program, and definitely you will be the first among others to get it. So watch my next video on how to register for the Windows Insider program. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Bye.